I'd like to see Dr. Shan. I'm sorry.
It was already broken. Makes it hard to sneak in.
Well, I came here to visit Dr. Shan.
The Wind Master? Just go through that door. If the doctor feels like talking to you, he'll make sure you end up in the right place.
Oh, will he?
You're not chicken, are you? I wouldn't worry too much. The doc's old, but he won't pass up a chance to get a closer look at you.
Thanks, I think. Dr. Shan, are you in here? Dr. Shan?
My, it certainly has been a long time. I'm afraid I can't really call you my little lady anymore, can I, Miss Stingray?
I can't believe you actually recognized me.
How could I forget someone who was so important to us? Now, what is it that brings you here?
To be honest, I have some questions that need answering.
I'm sure you must. Why else would you visit someone who was a part of that distasteful business? Believe me, my child, I'm quite glad for my chance at atonement.
And I'm equally glad that you feel that way. You see, I have reason to believe that someone is trying to dig up something that should be left buried.
You mean Brian J. Mason?
So you know.
How could I not? Genom has been digging their little earthworm holes beneath the city for quite a while now. Because of that, the natural flow of energy through the Earth's crust has been constantly disrupted. It's all part of a project they call the Dragon Line.
So Mason is using that project as a cover to conceal his search for the Wiz Lab.
Yes, he is indeed searching for the lab. But although he keeps digging exploratory holes, he keeps missing the target.
Missing the target? Then you must know...
No, I don't. Not exactly, anyway. The cataclysm caused a complete reshifting of the underground mass, even more so than was indicated on the surface. However, I've been able to reconstruct the general pattern of that event.
I see.
You came to ask me how to find the lab, didn't you?
Yes.
And what is it that you intend to do with it, once it's found?
I'll do what I have to do. The things in that lab must remain locked away forever, out of the reach of maniacs like Mason. Whatever it takes.
I wonder how Dr. Stingray would feel about that.
Doctor!
I'm sorry. A poor choice of words. I beg your forgiveness, my dear. I would be quite happy to assist you. Please, do be seated.
I don't know. I just couldn't feel the bike handling the surface of the road, you know?
At least your tires are still okay for now. But 3 new parts in the suspension, plus swapping out a chamber. It won't be cheap.
Yeah, life's a bitch.
Ah, Nene! You're here!
Hi, guys!
Great. Why's she here?
No, don't tell me.
I was just passing by, so I thought I'd drop in.
That's great, Nene. Hey, as long as you're here, can you teach me how to do that override patch you were talking about?
Not right now. Actually, Pris, I was hoping I could talk to you for a second. Please? Sorry, Maki. Next time, I promise.
As you can see, the pattern of Mason's dragon excavations may seem fairly comprehensive on the surface. But Mason's calculations obviously have not correctly estimated how the underground strata were displaced during the event. As he is obviously basing his excavations on surface observations, his chances of actually finding the lab's location are very slim.
But if he keeps on digging...
Yes, he will find it eventually, I'm afraid. But if we combine our knowledge of the underground flow with the excavations Mason has made, we should be able to ascertain the probable location of the lab. Can your people handle it from there?
Absolutely.
Then let's get down to business, shall we? I believe my associates can help us eliminate a few more of the variables, but it will take some time.
I'm in your debt, sir.
No, it's something I've owed you ever since I became a part of your father's ambitions. I'm an old man who is all too aware of his impending mortality. I've done much wrong. Now I must atone.
Thank you, sir.
Here.
Thanks. Okay, I'm listening.
Just how much do you know about Celia's background?
Is it important?
Well, maybe not, but on the other hand, it could be.
Let's see. You met her about the same time I did, right? The first time I saw her was when I was having a disagreement with some cops at a roadblock. She approached me a little while after that.
I see. What I was wondering was whether she'd ever told you about her past or childhood.
Not really. Is all this going someplace?
Well, the thing is, I'm wondering why Celia created the Night Sabers in the first place.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering exactly how her father fit into it.
Her father?
That's right. Almost all the original Boomer technology patents were in his name.
Yeah?
Well, Celia really hates boomers, doesn't she? Is it because her father created them, or is there some other reason?
Nene, why are you suddenly so curious?
Hasn't it ever worried you? Well, never mind. I was just wondering, that's all.
Nigel, about Professor Mason.
I told you not to worry about it.
But, Nigel... Celia.
Good afternoon, Nigel. I have something I need to talk to you about.
Right, we can talk in there. Maki, finish up out here.
Dr. Steven Stingray, creator of Boomer and Boomer technology, killed in the Tokyo earthquake 7 years ago. Huh? Passcode. All right. Yeah, that's the ticket. I'm so good, it scares me sometimes. Huh? What? No way. It can't be.
Just as I suspected. That creature was an offshoot of my father's experiments. It must have been part of the research that led up to the creation of the core prototype.
I brought the things you asked for.
Oh, thank you, Nigel.
Do you have everything set up for the test?
Yes, it's ready to go. Just put it on the table, please.
What now?
We'll use the radar and sonar together. I'm setting it up now. If my hunch is correct, that monster was able to locate boomers by broadcasting a series of electromagnetic pulses that triggered a specific series of sonic vibrations it could sense through the ground. We know the frequency it used to disable the boomers, so let's try this.
I'd say you guessed correctly, right?
Yes, so it would appear. This ought to make the task of finding the lab a lot simpler.
Unfortunately, the effective range of that handheld EMP cannon is barely 300 meters. It would take 10 years to cover all of Tokyo that way.
Not quite. Utilizing the Windmaster's data, we can narrow our selection of possible search areas considerably. There are 27 target zones that we'll be focusing on, and thanks to Mason, most of them should be accessible through the tunnel system. I think the girls and I can manage that.
True, but even assuming that you manage to find it, what are you going to do with it?
Actually, Ginham has provided the final solution themselves.
Ginham? If they couldn't handle it 7 years ago, what can they possibly do against it now?
It's an application of technology that wasn't available 7 years ago. I came up with it after going over Dr. Shan's data. And this time, I'm going to eliminate the root of the problem.
it's the 1 o'clock express. I'm going to have to head back soon.
Oh well, I guess we've played hooky long enough.
I'm glad you told me about this. I knew Nene was acting odd, but I didn't know why.
Well, hopefully she'll be able to work it out by herself.
Do you think we should ask Celia about this? I know, it would seem like we're prying. But to be honest, I think Nene may be onto something.
Huh?
Well, just why did Celia start the Night Savers anyway? Money doesn't seem very important to her, so I don't think that's the reason. But just what else does that leave?
And I think we can also rule out a burning desire to play superhero and save the world. That's your motivation, right?
Okay, you've got me with that one. Hey, Pris, look. The truth is, I don't care what kind of reason Celia has. We've all got our own little secrets. But what we're doing is right. Celia may be strange, but I do trust her.
Maki, oil filter.
Right. Nigel.
Wrench.
Right. So, what did Celia want?
Why don't you ask her?
I did, but she wouldn't say.
Then I can't tell you either, can I?
I understand, but could you at least tell me if she's planning something dangerous?
I don't know. I just made something according to her specifications. I don't care what it is or how she uses it.
Did it have something to do with Professor Mason showing up yesterday?
Muffler. Give me the muffler, please.
Right.
It's time for a break.
Hi, Nigel.
Hello, Nene.
Oh, hi, Maki!
Do you take cream in your coffee? Or would you prefer cocoa today?
Cocoa, please. Hey, Maki, how old are you?
15?
I thought so. And your father was the famous Dr. Stingray, right? So, what kind of father was he?
I really don't remember much about him. I was pretty young and he was always busy. Celia could tell you more.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Here's your cocoa.
Thanks, Maki. So anyway, I guess you lived with Celia until you were how old?
Oh, well, until I was 8, but why?
8, I see. Well, I was just wondering what Celia was like back when she was a kid, that's all. I mean, was she any different when she was younger than she is now?
She was pretty smart even then. I think some people thought she was a little cool and distant, but she was really nice to me. She seemed to have a lot on her mind.
So pretty much like she is now. Oh, I meant that about the being nice part. Okay, so what were you like as a kid, Maki?
Me? I haven't changed much since then.
Let's get back to work.
Right.
The Stingray woman contacted a member of the Old Order, a man named Dr. Shan.
Interesting. Obviously, the Old Order isn't as dormant as we believed it to be. They could make things difficult for us.
That's true. Genna may have taken her place in the spotlight, but with their assets they could still prove to be a formidable adversary.
But those same assets could make them a useful tool. Ms. Stingray is as resourceful as I had hoped.
Isn't that why you purposely allowed Kazooie to leak information to her?
Of course. I've always known that Stingray maintained an extensive network of collaborators. Let's start using them.
Is that wise? These are some very dangerous people you're playing games with, Dr. Mason.
And what about the other subject?
Nigel Kirkland? We've contacted him as per your instructions, but I don't understand why we need to bother with a nobody like him.
I told you, Stingray left me an inheritance. I intend to use it.
Yes, sir.
So, you want us to go underground and investigate each of these 27 sites?
That's right. And I'll be paying you each double the usual price, all right?
Well, I'm sure you can count me in, Celia. But this whiz lab, is there something dangerous inside? It's not that I don't trust you, but I think it might speed up the search if we knew exactly what we were looking for. You know what I mean?
I just want you to find the lab, so it's pointless for me to tell you more. I'll handle everything after that.
Can I ask you one question?
What?
From what you said, this whiz laboratory has been missing ever since the earthquake, right?
Right.
Is this your father's lab?
What?
Yes, it is.
Then something dangerous might be in there.
Please, Pris. I can't tell you anymore.
Okay, you can count me in. Who the hell am I to complain about getting double my usual paycheck?
Thanks, Pris. Nene?
Hold up. Why didn't you invite Maki to this briefing?
What?
If it's your father's lab, why haven't you told Maki?
It's not important. Trust me.
I'm sorry, Celia, but I've been going through your files and I found some glaring discrepancies. Now I want facts.
Nene!
At first I thought it was just a mistake, but the more I dug, the more it became obvious that it wasn't just a clerical error. There's no birth certificate, no adoption record, nothing to indicate he ever existed at all. Dr. Stingray never had a son, did he? He never existed! Who is Maki, Celia? Who in the hell is he? You won't answer my question, will you?
I'm sorry, Nene.
Was he involved with the accident at the lab?
You know about that too?
Sure. It was quite a challenge cracking through all of the security systems that the government has protecting their one and only file. But I finally got through to it using the ADP mainframe.
Wait, Nene, what accident?
It all began the year before the quake, when the Bioscape Corporation, which is where Dr. Stingray had been working, was bought out, and the Boomer project was transferred to Genom. Dr. Stingray had finally succeeded in creating a viable core, and the mass production of boomers had just begun. Everything seemed to be going perfectly, but suddenly there was a mysterious accident at the lab. The files don't say exactly what, but it was bad enough for the government to secretly send in a battalion of police troops.
So what really happened?
I don't know. The file I was able to access was a record of the police mobilization, and it had been heavily edited in several spots. However, even though I don't know what happened, I know how horrible it must have been by the way Genom decided to deal with it. The chairman of Genom judged that it was impossible to save the situation and ordered the detonation of an artificial earthquake device.
No way. You're saying that someone caused the earthquake? Celia, is this true?
Yes, it's all true. The earthquake, everything.
Jesus! All those people died in the earthquake because one person pushed a button? Millions died!
So tell me, Celia, what was it that was inside that lab that was worth destroying a city to try to stop it?
I'm sorry. I can't tell you. However, Maki had absolutely nothing to do with the accident, Nene. I swear it's the truth.
You swear? Why in the hell should I ever trust you again? Nene!
You can go too, if you want.
Celia?
What Nene said was true. I withheld information from you. I've asked you to do things for me and never explained the consequences. I've used you, and I'm ashamed.
Yeah, well, you should be. So, huh? None of this changes the fact that there's something out there that we still need to find, right? So let's get with the program and find it, okay?
Chris is right. If there's really something like this still out there, then we've got no choice but to help you find it. Besides, you know I'm a sucker for this kind of thing.
Thank you. Both of you.
I just wish... Hey, Pris. What do you think?
About Nene? I'm thinking it's a good thing she's not here in her current mental state, and we're better off without her. If you and I each search 3 points per night, we'll be finished in 5 days.
You talk so tough.
Excuse me?
Oh, yeah. You always talk so big and tough. But you really care about the kid, don't you?
I'll go first.
Hey! Wait for me!
making their move.
I see. Excellent.
In the next episode of Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040. Through a network of nightmares and a maze of underground tunnels, the Night Sabers search frantically for the missing lab. But even as they scramble through the darkness, a new horror is awakening in the labyrinth. As Brian J. Mason prepares to spring his trap, a new genesis is about to be unleashed. Next episode, Shock.